Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody here to the December 3rd, 2024 AM Board of Supervisors meeting. Hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving and ready to get down to business this week. First thing, before we call the meeting to order, we have the honor of welcoming Pastor Brad Hales from Reformation Lutheran Church to lead us in our invocation. And so if you're willing and able, please stand for our invocation.
Let's go ahead and pray. Father in heaven, I do thank you and praise you so much for this day. Indeed, we give you all thanks and praise for all the blessings in our lives. And now, Lord, in this season of Advent, we get ready to prepare, look forward to, anticipate your birth, Jesus, and your second coming. I'm praying a special blessing and anointing upon the Board of Supervisors here in Culpeper County. Just give them direction, clearness of heart and mind and discernment to make the best decisions for where we live. Continue to bless this county, our schools, and everything that is a part of, that makes Culpeper, Virginia, a wonderful place to be and to live. I pray all these things in the name of our Savior alone, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Hales. At this time, I would ask Supervisor Rosenberger to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll call the meeting to order.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business is the approval of our agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, we will proceed as presented. Moving on to item 2.02 is our consent agenda, and I would ask our County Administrator, John Eggerson, to introduce these items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. 3 items on consent this morning. Under item A, the board will consider approval of the November 6, 2024 AM and PM minutes. Under item B, the board will consider acceptance of a donation and a budget amendment in the amount of $1,000 for Culpeper Human Services. The funds were donated by the Fraternal Order of the Eagles for the Culpeper Warming Shelter. And under item C, the board will consider acceptance of a donation and appropriation of funds in the amount of $27,452 for the library patio shade sale project. The board will also consider approval of a fund transfer in the amount of $45,646.29 for the project.
Thank you, John. Discussion or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Moving on to item 3.0, General County Business. This time we'll welcome Mark Nesbitt from the Warrenton Residency of VDOT to provide his quarterly report.
Thank you, Chairman Bates and board members. Thank you for letting me be here today to present the quarterly VDOT update. I think I gave a copy out if you want to follow along. We've had very productive fall season and are currently gearing up for the winter snow season. Our maintenance crews have been involved in mowing and brush removal, gravel road maintenance, pavement and drainage repairs, and many other activities. We listed several here on our from our last month's report. Also, customer service related work requests are a big part of our routine maintenance activities as well. As I mentioned last week, or last time I was here, we did take in the southern portion of Culpeper County. We for years and years that was the maintenance responsibility for Rhodesville area headquarters, which is in Orange County. We took that back over. We got some resources to take care of. I think we ended up with getting 5 additional positions and some equipment to help maintain that area. So now all of Culpeper County is maintained by Warrenton Residency. We've just finished up our rural rustic program for the season. We finished up 5 road segments, 3 of them on Old Stillhouse Road, Hazelland Road, and Countryside Lane. And we'll surface these roads in the spring. The finishing of some of the, I think 3 of these roads does complete the county's revenue share, rural rustic revenue sharing program. So I think that's been an ongoing program that the county has taken on, and we really appreciate that, putting your funds into the rural rustic program. And so that will complete that. The 2024 pavement resurfacing program is complete. We did complete 31.73 centerline miles. Of that, 9.5 miles basically was surface treatment. So that is complete, and our 2025 pavement program is under advertisement, and we've got over 50 miles of plant mix scheduled. So in early 25, I'll present when the project is awarded, I'll present the paving information, the roads that that will be paved as part of that. So you'll be aware of what's going on in your areas. Also, Smart Scale, we are continuing, with the Smart Scale program. The county has 2 projects that have been funded in the past cycles, Route 3 and 669, Carico Mills. There's a project scheduled there for September 28. That's currently, we're moving into design. And the Route 229 and 621 roundabout has a construction advertisement in September 29. Just included some information here on the town of Culpeper with their 3 projects that have been funded. The roundabout at Route 3 and McDevitt Drive is actually going to advertisement next week, and construction it'll be a 60-day award, so construction should begin in the spring of next year. So if y'all have noticed, we've been getting the utilities relocated, and so that projects are proceeding, and I know everybody's looking forward to getting that one out of the way. But not too far after that project is finished, we will probably begin the roundabout at right up the road from our district office at 315 and 522. That's Orange Road and Old Brandy Road, or Orange Road. That turn that into a roundabout, and that will be a significant project for management of traffic. As you know, it's a busy intersection, and that one and the sidewalk down Old Brandy Road will be I keep saying Old Brandy, Old Orange Road will be a design build project. We felt like that would be the most the best way to get that project accomplished. And currently, we're in round 6 of Smart Scale. The town of Culpeper has 2 projects that they've submitted for CTV consideration next year. There's a roundabout at 29 Business and Route 3 and Route 522, which is Madison Highway and Germanna Highway, and Main Street, which is right up the road from the roundabout I just mentioned. And also bike ped enhancements on Madison Highway, 1529 Business, as well as a roundabout at Route 1529 Business at the Walmart entrance. So those are projects that have been submitted by the town for scoring, and we'll probably know in January, sometime in January, what the preliminary scores are for all those projects. And then, of course, Culpeper County has a project that they've submitted, that you've submitted for consideration at 229 in Ira Hoffman. And also wanted to add that we got a request from the board last summer to study the southern 29 corridor south of the town of Culpeper. We are still looking for ways of getting this accomplished. And speaking with our district planning manager recently, he feels like they've updated some of the data on that corridor, safety data and other data points, and it looks like that section may qualify for one of our planning funding programs, either the pipeline program or the STARS program. So we're encouraged at that, and we'll know, hopefully know pretty soon whether that meets one of those two funding programs. But we're still looking to try to figure out how to get that study done if those aren't possible. But we feel pretty good about one of those two programs. Of course, the county's revenue sharing projects, Riva Road and White Shot Road, have been funded. They have been approved for funding, and I believe the agreements have been executed for both of these projects. And right now, I think the funding is not available until like 28 or 29. So unfortunately, the projects will sort of be on hold until the funding is available, so we can start developing those projects to construction. Route 663 Stevensburg Road, we recently were contacted by a consultant for the county for a potential safety project on Stevensburg Road for a locally administered type project. We have met with Sam McLaren and the consultant and some of our design folks to begin the scoping for that project. So appreciate the county putting that project forth. That certainly is a worthy project. Hopefully it'll be successful and whenever it's submitted for funding. Next spring, is the next cycle of revenue sharing and transportation alternatives program. Pre-application phase starts in April of 25 and closes at the end of May. We've discussed with county staff the potential bike ped improvements on Higher Hoffman Lane as potential. There may be others, but that's kind of where we're at right now with that. As far as traffic engineering studies, we currently have the Route 652 through truck restriction request that's still pending in our traffic engineering section, but I think we've got, that was submitted earlier this summer. The policy program allows for 9 months to complete that study and to come to some conclusion, so they're following the policy to get that completed. Don't have any preliminary thoughts on whether that's, where that's going to go, but hopefully that'll be a successful conclusion as far as getting that through truck restriction in. Another project that's in the works is the bridge construction is scheduled next year on Hazel River Road, Route 628. It's over, that's a bridge that's over a contributory stream to the Hazel River. I think the superstructure replacement, the superstructure is ready to go. It's just waiting on the funding to be there for that project, but it should take place next year. And one of the last items I have here is an item I know y'all are interested in, the All Points Broadband Fiber Optic Project. I know the All Points Broadband folks were here last month and presented their update, and just wanted to touch on that. We have issued or had issued 9 permits for that project, which 2 were actually canceled by the permittee due to field conditions. They've submitted 2 additional permit applications for us to replace those 2. And we plan on getting those issued by the end of the week. And to our knowledge, the construction has commenced on 3 of those, the 7 existing permits. Don't think that they've completed any permits to date. But we did meet with them yesterday, and basically we told them is that we would issue permits. We would keep whatever crews they had for the project. We would issue permits to keep them busy, but they haven't completed any of the roads that they've submitted yet, and kind of, I don't know if their resources are limited, but we told them we would work with them and issue permits as needed to keep the project moving. So that's kind of where that stands. So don't know that would not say that we've been a holdup to them. We've issued them permits. They're there for them to work. They just haven't had the resources to get the projects built. So anyway, I'll leave that there. I'm be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. One, thank you very much for the report. Appreciate it, and glad to see that we got the agreements relative to White Shop and Riva Road and are working towards Stevensburg. Regarding All Points, they're telling us that they plan to be substantially complete on 246.4 miles of underground fiber by the end of February. Do you think they could do that?
That's not my business. I'm not involved in that.
Well, how many
Sounds
miles
like
have they done in the last month?
I don't know that they've completed, we've issued them, they've worked on three permits, 2 miles per permit. What, how many miles, Ben? 2 miles per permit, and they haven't completed those yet.
Okay, so 6 miles in the last
Yes.
month. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Mark, the roundabout at Route 3 and McDevitt Drive, that's
Yes.
going to begin in the spring of 2025?
Yes.
So once construction begins on that, what's the timeframe for completion?
I believe that's a 1.5-year project, 18 months.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I
Mark?
have one. Carver Center, we're still getting some very major accidents, helicopter flights to hospitals. Is there anything that is moving that road up to be able to get more coordination with funding to do something about left turn lane, decel lanes for that area?
Yeah, well, recently there was a crash there, a month ago maybe? Unfortunately, it was a rear end, I think southbound, where someone was stopped to turn left in, and there was, I think, multiple vehicle crash there. Our looking at that initially before that wreck, really we were looking at sight distance for vehicles pulling out. And we are planning to do some sloping work if you're pulling out to the left using our CSOI funds. We're working towards that. We've got to get property owners' permission but this is sort of a different issue, which, we haven't really done any surveying, but it may require right-of-way. Anytime you add a turn lane like that, you're adding width to the roadway. We have to look at that. It's kind of a different scope project. So we haven't really started anything on that. Sam and I swapped some emails on that, and that we would look at that and see what a good path forward would be to try to come up with a project for that.
Okay.
But-
And is there any way that on maybe some of the speed limit signs or other signs that are on the side of the road that we can put some of the "your speed is" signs? Because from Old Orange Road all the way down to the Culpeper County line in both directions, people are flying 65, 70 miles an hour. I don't know that that stops people when they realize how much over the speed limit they're going, but something to curb the speed that is going through that section, because it is astronomical how fast they go. They're passing on
Yeah.
double yellow. It's bad.
Yeah. We have one of those radar speed feedback signs that we use on 4-lane routes, because it's a large sign for primary routes. I think the sheriff's office has some of the smaller signs. Sam, they've got some of the smaller signs that can be used on the 2-lane roads and secondary and primary roads.
Okay.
So certainly I'll reach out to the sheriff's office and we can coordinate that.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, and to build off of Ms. Gugino's comment, you'd mentioned, trying to find the funding to do these studies, and to me, that goes back to the Route 663 Stevensburg Road, and one of the reasons that the board opted to have our own engineering firm look at that is in light of what's coming down the pike with an additional school in that area. I think being proactive, getting the road up to par before we have all this bus traffic, to me, would be a smart move. And I think it goes right back to the overpass when Eastern View was built on the other side of a 4-lane highway. So if there was any resources that that we're not aware of, that Sam's not aware of, that, any way that we could pull funding to expedite this project on 663, I think would be a smart move. And I know Company 2 in Brandy has already total lost a fire truck on that road, and there's numerous, they're not bad accidents, but anytime you have a busload of kids, if it runs off the road and turns over or lays on its side, that's not a good thing. And that's something that's really been weighing heavy with me since, we decided where we're going to put this school. So any help you could give us on that, and along with the Route 15, is greatly appreciated. So, and again, thank you for this report.
Understood. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Moving on to there is no old business. New business, the board will discuss and consider a potential expansion of transit services in the county, and this will turn it over to our Economic Development Director, Brian Rothmel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I presented back in July, it was summertime over the summer, about our transit services, that we would not be looking at expansion until the earliest would be 2026. Felt like a little maybe possible disappointment with that. I wanted to at least see if there were any options that we could do to bring back to you for your consideration if it's something that you'd be interested in. Also here today is members from VRT. They are who we contract with to provide our public transportation. Our current system, we have the Culpeper Transit, which is the 3 routes typically called the trolley routes, the North, South, and Express. They operate each 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then a few hours on Saturday as well. And then the county has Express Bus 1 and 2. That is our on-demand service. Those operate both 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday. We're currently serving both buses are serving somewhere between 350 and 450 every month. It's been pretty consistent for us. This past month, we just got the report. It was, I think, 350 and 380 between the 2 buses. So we are seeing good service through there. And then we also have the Orange Connector, which connects the towns of Culpeper and Orange, and then the Foothills Express, which is Culpeper to Charlottesville. We are a partial funder for the Orange Connector as well as the Foothills Express. This past year, we will spend $229,000 in this current fiscal year. Projection for next fiscal year to just continue the services that we have are an additional $15,000, insurance and labor costs being the primary driver of that. So already we're looking at a $15,000 increase for going into next year. When looking at the possible expansion, we surveyed the Stevensburg area, and the reason how we got there, I want to give you a little backup. We first approached it with, could we provide an employment bus? A bus that would bring us to our major employment centers, get us out to Elkwood, and then come down to Stevensburg and end at the greenhouses there. The issue with that was it required a pretty robust solution that would have the employment bus starting before the other trolley services start and ending when they're ending. So it wasn't really a great solution. In order to do that, we would have to expand a lot of services. But that brought us to Stevensburg, and then part of that was, well, could we serve Stevensburg? And that's where we kind of ended, was, is there a solution that would be Stevensburg and Brandy Station related? We'll go in a little bit more. Once you're able to do that, you're able to take the other services out of Brandy and Stevensburg, and then they would serve the rest of the county. So the whole county would be getting an increase in services, but that's kind of how we landed into the Stevensburg area. Is we originally were looking for an employment bus. Unfortunately, there were many issues that led us astray on that search. We did send a survey out to the Stevensburg. They picked the post office and did a 5-mile radius. 30% of the results said they would use public transit. However, some said no, but would if it was available. So it's kind of hard to say if that's a yes or a no. When they say no, but if available, yes. The most popular uses were Tuesday through Thursday. We did not see much use in Monday and Friday. Ideally, all of our on-demand services would go to this type of hybrid mode, which is you go to the area of Stevensburg, you pick up for a time, and then at whatever you say, 8 o'clock, we're heading back to town of Culpeper, where they would then get back onto the trolley system, and then they'd go out to Brandy and do the same thing. So there'd be a set time that they would be in each area. That helps the people that are riding the bus know when they can get calls and when they can schedule their services, and they also know when they'll be coming back, because there's a fixed time that the bus will be leaving the town of Culpeper. The way this works is we would start in Stevensburg. So from 7 to 7:30, we would be picking up people, and then at 7:45, we'd be back at the depot. And then we'd do the same thing out at Brandy for 30 minutes, and then we'd be back at the depot. And they would keep going back in this wishbone format. Also, we would be servicing the Brandy Station Park and Ride, which is where Virginia Breeze drops off. That's the bus that goes from Danville to DC every day. This would cost an additional $30,000 for a full year to operate. Remember, our first year, we don't find out about our funding because we have to go through the Commonwealth Transportation Board. They meet in May and June. So we don't find out about funding until right before the fiscal year. That's when we have to start doing hiring and locating a bus. So we would, that first year, have a savings. We would be spending somewhere between 2/3 to 3/4 of that $30,000. If the CTB does not approve new route matching funding, we would not proceed. That would be cost. We pay such a small percentage of a total new route. However, the CTB, we're reading the tea leaves. There's not as much funding available for new routes as there was when we asked for the third route previously. So that's just, we would not proceed if that did not come through. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Questions for Brian?
Brian, back to the wishbone, please.
Yep.
So people will be calling for the on-demand pickup in Stevensburg and Brandy Station, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so they're not going to get it picked up at one central location.
Correct.
They're getting picked up at their homes.
Correct. So
And then at a certain time, they know that they're going to be in Culpeper at whatever time that is, 7:45 or whatever,
7:45,
right?
8:45, 9:45.
Okay,
10:45.
all right.
And then same in the afternoon.
And I've worked on the Public Transportation Board with you, so you all have, so this is definitely a need that you all see coming up in the near future for people getting to work and getting back home, correct?
Yeah, we would like all three buses to work in this type of format. Unfortunately, we're using so much capacity that you can't navigate them easily. They're seeing, VRT has used this in Gordonsville and found a lot of success where they go around Gordonsville and then that bus at a certain time heads to the town of Orange and then back out. So there it's a dumbbell rather than, I like to use analogies for everything, so.
Gotcha, all right. So this is more an advance notice for us that very soon, this may be something that we need to look into funding, correct?
Well, hopefully we're able to move this so that we're using this type of format for all of our buses. We are seeing tremendous growth with the current, when we added that third route, it did not cannibalize. It is the same amount that we're seeing people use public transportation, which helps take cars off roads. The more we move to a service of convenience versus necessity, that helps eliminate some of the issues that we're talking about when we, cars on the road. That starts eliminating cars on the road.
Right.
Supervisor
Thank you.
Underwood?
A couple of questions. First, what capacity are we at for the two routes where you said we're doing 350 and 380?
The capacity for, my name is Mike Soha. Hello, everybody. I'm the transit manager here for Virginia Regional Transit. Capacity in County 1 and County 2 is extreme to the point where they're busy all day long. Weather comes up and cancellations occur. That's where you have your vacancy, but then it's a seat that could have been taken by somebody that needed for the day. That's why we're considering this hybrid. But they are full most of the day, 10 hours a day, both County 1 and County 2.
Okay, so we're pretty much at 100% capacity. We wouldn't expect the numbers to change from the 350 or 380 because there's no more unless we get lucky with weather, there's no more availability, or if people have shorter routes.
With the exception if we convert to what Brian was talking about, this hybrid method, which we experimented with down in Gordonsville, and we immediately saw a 50% increase by taking clusters of people at set time, remaining a little bit longer in the town of Gordonsville, and then taking off from there to the town of Orange. I was nervous when we rolled it out, but people are really keen to the idea. We've seen the numbers surge there, which has also helped with people that are actually coming to the town of Orange, and ironically enough, connecting with the Orange Connector and coming right here to Culpeper, and connecting in Culpeper and going all the way to Charlottesville. And because we don't have any bus fare, you can now, instead of paying out the nose, so to speak, to go from Gordonsville to Charlottesville, you do it for free. So for the elderly, disabled, people that are needing treatment, it's all connecting. And I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're having this discussion.
Great, thank you. And
Yes,
then,
sir.
one more question. For the survey that you sent out for the 5-mile radius of Stevensburg, how many households or people did you send it to?
I just got that. 1,994 surveys were sent out in August. They also had a QR code. They can scan it and send it into a back door that we had or mail it to us.
And how many responses?
A little
of it?
over 100.
100
over
responses out of 1994.
And it was interesting. I think Brian brought up the point. There were several that said no. Sometimes when you're in this business, I've been in it for a long time, you send out the surveys and they reply back and they say, no, I won't use it. But then they also replied that they would use it for shopping or work or medical. You sit there and scratch your head and say, like he said, is this a yes or a no? But it's new to some people. They've never experienced public transit before. So for the first time, it is an experience for them.
I'm all for public transit. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, Mike, you said that the hybrid model, when you tried that out in, I think you said Orange and Charlottesville, that increased
Yeah.
the ridership by 50%?
It increased all the ridership. It increased the Gordonsville ridership. It doubled that.
Okay.
Toot Trolley was affected by it because they made its way to the town. The Foothills experienced a little bit of popping growth as well.
So we could
I think-
reasonably expect the same thing to happen here?
Yeah. My goal
We
right
moved to
here
the
is to
hybrid.
educate the public.
Right.
Educate the public how to use the service. So if we're going to provide the service, let's hit the street and tell them how to use the service as well. Otherwise, it's not worth anything.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Further questions? John?
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity purposes, Brian can confirm if I'm saying this right, but the reason we're here today is that there's a deadline to apply for those state matching funds. This additional $30,000 would just need to be part of the next budget, but we don't want to
Correct.
reach out and ask for matching funds unless the board is somewhat confident that you would include these funds in the next budget, so.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. That is correct. And there was another point I was going to add on to that, but the Public Transportation Board has reviewed this, and they did give their endorsement as well.
So I have a question on the funding aspect. You said that we would need to, pre-July 1st, we would still need to expend some funds, so you're,
No,
To do
we would find
hiring
out
stuff.
about May or June. We would actually, last time we added a route, we weren't able to get it running until December. So we found out in June. It takes
Oh,
time to identify a bus, hire for that bus. So there is some lag time. That's why we say 30,000 for the full year. Reasonably expect what we're spending 2/3 to 3/4 of the 30,000.
all right, thank you.
It's hard to tell you the exact amount, but that's the high mark.
Chairman, how would you like for us to proceed? Would you like a motion, or would you like a poll of the board, or how do we figure out if we're comfortable spending the 30,000?
That would require a motion, wouldn't it, John?
It's really the option of the board. I don't think it requires a motion, and just Brian needs a comfort level that he can tell Virginia Transit that we'd like to seek this additional route.
I'm one yes.
Consensus of the board is fine. Yeah. Looks like we have a full consensus.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
We will
Thank you,
let them know.
Brian. Moving on to item 5.02, the board will discuss and consider final allocation of American Rescue Plan ARPA funds. And this I'll turn over to John for introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I gave the board a little heads up on this during my administrator's report last month, but included on board docs was the funding summary for our ARPA funds. You'll recall that the county received about $10.2 million in funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, and we spent a significant amount of those funds and committed the rest to various items and projects, including broadband and revenue sharing and some other things. But we're coming up on the deadline of December 31st of this year to have those funds fully encumbered, which under the ARPA guidelines means they're under contract, if not actually already expended. So what we would like to do today is obtain a board authorization to expend all of our remaining funds, which is almost $7.4 million on payroll expenses for the last quarter of the current calendar year. And then, of course, the savings from those payroll savings would be rolled out to the various projects that you had originally intended to fund with the ARPA funds. But we want to make sure that come December 31st, we don't have any funds to send back to the federal government. So I guess what we're seeking today is board approval to cover October, November, and December payroll with ARPA funds. And because we don't know exactly what the December payroll will be, depending on overtime expenses, if there are any funds left, just to authorize staff to expend them as necessary.
Thank you, John. Questions or comments for John?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize staff to spend the remaining ARPA funds of roughly $7.4 million on October, the remaining payrolls, and spend the remaining funds as they best believe fit.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ms. Ellis, thank you. Moving on to item 6.0, our committee reports. Supervisor Underwood, Public Works.
We didn't meet, sir.
Supervisor Durr, Building and Grounds.
No action items.
Supervisor Gugino, Rules Committee.
We did not meet.
Supervisor Rosenberger, Personnel Committee.
Committee bring forward a motion to approve a resolution to implement an increase in the county GRS aggregate duties multiplier from 1.7 to 1.85%. Change recommended to become effective on January 1, 2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, the committee brings forward a motion to approve modifying the personnel management plan to provide for a health insurance credit for retirees with 15 or more years of service who are retired through VRS with unreduced service. The committee recommendation includes providing the benefit for qualifying employees of the constitutional offices of the county and an effective date of January the 1st, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Will there be a cost to the county of this? And if so, roughly, what would it be?
Mr. Underwood, the current cost to the county based on the employees that would meet those actual criteria that exist as of today is about $18,000 a year. I think you could expect that to grow some, but that's the current cost that we can quantify today.
Okay, thank you. I support the motion.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, Ms. Ellis. Again, we'll welcome Brian Rothmel to give us our economic development report.
good being popular. First of all, I just really appreciate the opportunity every month to share my little section of county services here with the Economic Development Report. I always try to make this useful for the county and for y'all. This is one initiative I'm really excited and really passionate about, workforce development. That's something that I got into early in my career in economic development and continue to push forward. And work in Culpeper is something very proud of. We strengthened, this goes back to goal 1.3 and objective 1.3.2, which is grow the workforce development programs. We launched this in 2024, and it was our response to strengthening the workforce pipeline. It was a partnership with the Culpeper County Public Schools, Career and Technical Education, to help graduates find entry-level work in Culpeper. VCW Piedmont, the Culpeper Center, as well as the Chamber of Commerce were also partners in launching this website. Businesses at the CCPS student hiring event posted jobs online before, so the students were able to search for jobs going into it. And know what was available. And this is, again, intended for businesses looking to hire Culpeper talent. And if you're a Culpeper-based business, you are promoted to the top of the list. So we are featuring the Culpeper-based companies. For 2024, we had 61 job postings, and 66 companies were allowed to post, they're approved to post, 44 of those being based here in the county. What we're trying to move to is this Ready to Work initiative. It started in 2021 with Virginia Career Works Piedmont Region, Culpeper Center. That is outsourced to Rappahannock Goodwill. It's very confusing how we do workforce development in the Commonwealth. But Rappahannock Goodwill handles the Culpeper Center, the unemployment office here at the Culpeper Center. Residents in 2021 were able to complete online trainings, and once they completed their trainings, they had guaranteed interviews with Culpeper businesses. That program ended in 2021. The Charlottesville office, which is also handled by Rappahannock Goodwill, admittedly confusing, brought this to Charlottesville for the Office of Economic Development in 2024. They did self-paced learning modules. So you complete these modules, and these help boost soft skills. These are the skills that we're hearing most from businesses that are a problem: showing up on time, respect, understanding the workday. Once these modules are complete, they had a guaranteed interview with Charlottesville-based businesses, and they had about, so far, 11 complete that program, and very excited about what they've done down there, and have had a lot of communication with OED down in Charlottesville. What we're going to be moving to is the Work in Culpeper Ready to Work, which will be launching in January. This is with the Culpeper Center. They'll be doing the learning modules. However, this will be cohort-based. So it'll be 3 to 6, a handful of residents will be able to do these soft skill modules, which will be respect, decision-making, communication, conflict management, and emotional intelligence. And then once they complete that, we're going to be coordinating with them to get guaranteed interviews with Culpeper businesses. The advantage, this is not guaranteed hires. This is guaranteed interviews. So the businesses will be offering their services to be able to interview, but also, this also gives the businesses a first shot at some of these employees that have gone through some training and understand a little bit more about soft skills. And those interested in participating in the first cohort can go to readytoworkculpeper.com, which will bring you to workingculpeper.com/program/ready-to-work, and you'll be able to sign up there.
That's great stuff, Brian. That's, I think that's going to be well received in Culpeper, because that's one of the biggest concerns that businesses tell me is find qualified help. So
We're excited to sponsor. Jason Ford here from VCW Piedmont Culpeper came just when he brought the initiative. I stopped in mid-discussion. I was like, "We're in. Like, let's go." So
Thank you.
We're very excited to bring this, and I think the cohort style is so important, and connecting both presentations that'll be at their center, which is on the public transportation system. So easy for people to get there.
Good stuff. Comments?
Yeah, I have a question. So the Charlottesville office, you said, has been doing this. Are they seeing, like, what is the kind of age demographic of the people who are doing this? Are we looking more at, like, high school graduates, college graduates, or are we seeing across the spectrum?
Yeah. This is why I bring help.
Of course.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Jason Ford. I'm the One-Stop Center Manager for Rappahannock Goodwill and Virginia CareerWorks. From my understanding, it is a variety of folks. It tends to age a little bit higher in the more of the constituents that they're serving. What we see are people who are trying to either change their career field or get back into work after hiatus during COVID, and trying to remain competitive has been difficult. And so this program was really geared to help train them on what businesses are telling us they're looking for. It's not just what your technical skills are or how many years of experience you have. If you can't show up on time, if you can't manage your emotions when conflict arises at work, those are the things that companies are saying. Either we're having a hard time finding people who have those skills, or we're letting people go who don't. And so a lot of times it is people who are already in their career, they're trying to figure things out, the career they're in does not pay them enough or does not allow them to live the lifestyle that they want, and they're trying to readjust. And so we're really just trying to give people that upper hand by letting them interview with the companies as a guaranteed interview. We make it very clear we're not offering a guaranteed job. That is not what this is. This is an opportunity for you to test yourself in the setting of an interview with the skills that you've now gained. The fourth session within this program will be a practice interview, both with staff and ideally with some of the partners that we work with, to try and help sharpen their tool before they actually go into the interview. If a company would like to hire them, it is fully up to their discretion to make that offer or not, or if they have feedback that they would like to get on the person. The entire program will be self-reflective. So every interview that we do provide or that we do extend, there will be some type of rubric for them to be able to share with us. So if the person does not get hired, we can still tell them what they need to do or what they need to improve on moving forward. But to answer your question, it does tend to age a little bit higher than people fresh out of school.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
And the cohort, what kind of length of time are we looking for?
4 weeks.
4 weeks?
Yeah,
Okay.
4 weeks. 4 sessions. Sessions are about, we kind of gave it a 3-hour maximum, probably in the 2.5-hour sweet spot. It's both content online that we'll be navigating through. There's coursework that aligns with it and quizzes that we'll take as a group, along with activities to kind of keep them active within the session itself. And then my role will be ensuring that the interview that gets lined up on that 4th session, on the 4th week, it's kind of a smooth process, working with Brian to make sure that we can get in touch with businesses as far in advance as possible to let them know, hey, on this date, at this time, they're going to be graduated. Can you make it to our office to see them in person to have their interview? If they can't, we'll do Zoom. We'll try and coordinate as best as we can, but the process should work smoothly. We're hoping for.
Excellent. Sounds great.
And we're hoping to do this a few times a year, so.
Brian, the workingculpeper.com website for students to find job postings, correct? So how do our students know to go there? How does that information get out to them?
The school, the CTE publicized that to the students beforehand.
Uh-huh.
That's for anyone. The original intention of that website, though, was for students, but we have jobs that are not necessarily based for students.
Right.
We have jobs currently active that we help promote.
Okay.
Moving forward, we're looking at some additional advertising. Step 1 was to get that launched. Year 2 now is to make sure we're getting that more into the lexicon of Culpeper.
So all of our graduating seniors would know well beforehand.
Correct. They
This
know
is where
as
you
part-
go to find your job information, job postings.
Correct.
Okay, terrific, thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Moving on now to our administrator's report, and then we'll get John, give us that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 quick things. First, the county employee Christmas party, annual Christmas party is this Saturday, December the 7th at 5:30 p.m. at Germanna Community College, so I hope all of you can make that. And the second thing that was not listed on the agenda, but wanted to introduce John Cooley, our new Culpeper County Planning Director. John, if you want to come up. John has experience with VDOT. He's worked under me for a number of years and then left to become the director at the town of Orange. And we're happy to bring him back home.
Thank you, John. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as John said, I'm John Cooley. I am looking forward to take over Sam's position when he takes over John's position. It seems like a lot of good movement around here, but I'm here to hopefully support everyone here with the Planning Commission and the citizens of the county, helping to move this county forward however we see fit. So, any questions?
First, let me say welcome back to Culpeper.
Thank you very much. I
Glad to
appreciate it,
have
Mr.
you
Chairman.
back. So, any comments or questions? We look forward to working with you in the future.
You too. Thank you, sir.
All right, with that, we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter into closed meeting as permitted under Virginia Code annotated sections 2.2-3711A, 1, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 29 to discuss and consider: 1, citizen appointments to the following committees, public bodies. 1, Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee. 2, CDAC. 3, CHS Board. 4, Culpeper Regional Airport Advisory Committee. 5, EDA. 6, Encompass Community Services Board. 7, JBBCA. 8, Library Board. 9, Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. 10, Planning Commission. And 11, Towing and Advisory Board. Number 2, the potential award of a public contract involving the expenditure and/or the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interest of the county/board would be adversely affected. And 3, the board will discuss the potential purchase of real properties located in the West Fairfax and Cedar Mountain districts, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position, negotiating strategy, and financial interests of the board/county.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. We're in closed session. Thank you all.